Hey Internet, this is Gunter with MiniMishaps Games. It is 3D Monday, and we are going to walk you through our process for creating 3D printable files from a 3D design. Welcome back to another Monday, 3D Monday. We are working on a cultist or a caster or a witch or some kind of Halloween object today that we're going to be able to hopefully 3D print or at least have the file ready by the end of this video. We've got our model loaded into the DAZ 3D Studio. I'm not sure what its actual full name is at present. We've got a nice dress picked out, and we picked this dress out because, one, if you have been following the channel for a while, this character in dress was a disaster when we were first learning about 3D modeling. We thought that 3D models could just go to the 3D printer and it would be okay. But we have learned a ton, and so this is a sort of a recovery from that failed attempt. Hopefully could be another in that vein, but we are here to show you guys it's okay to make mistakes and learn things. And so we've got a this is a coif is what it's called, I guess. Not sure if I'm saying that right. And then we'll add a regular hair in addition, because the mesh on this one is sort of see-through but football helmet, so it doesn't actually end up looking like hair when we get it over to the other parts. So we'll need to add some like actual hair. I didn't like the short hair with the long coif, so we went with kind of a longer hair on the back side of the head. But we didn't know about resizing or number of triangles or filling a mesh or closing a space or joining an object into a singular object. And so when we were trying to move it over to the 3D printers, what was happening is we were ending up, the 3D printer was trying to 3D print two-dimensional walls around a three-dimensional object, which means that it had zero thickness, and the printer slicer didn't know what to do with it for the 3D printer. So we've got more of those things ironed out now, and we're going to retry that same model. If you want to see the old video, it's in the 3D playlist. But so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to design with all the colors and shaping and grab a pose and stuff here. So we're going for a more ghostly feel for the design here. It was unintentional when we designed it that it just ends up looking kind of like the 3D file does when it's previewed without any of the color, but that's okay. That's a coincidence that ghostly characters are also plasticized model colors. So yep, so then we're going to go in. We picked out this pose that was technically from the flying column, but ends up looking like she's kind of doing a ceremony of some sort. So had to fix the hair. The hair decided to just detach and fly away, so we reattached her hair. And then also for whatever reason the dress decided to fly away backwards, so we had to fix that part of the details as well. And really, that's the wonderful thing about DAZ 3D is most of the models and most of the materials and clothing and things allow you to kind of move it by a section. So in this case, the hips of the dress or the top part of the dress, part of the leg of the dress, you can select just that part and resize it, move it around, drag it around. And so here I've got the wrong part selected. I'm trying to select the below the waist on the dress, and it ends up with the waist. So then once we got that figured out, then we could slide that dress over each of the legs there. So once we got our dress kind of lying flat and looking pretty normal there, then we'll start exporting the file now that we have it in the shape that we want. So the first thing that we are going to export this as an image. That'll be everything we use for promotional materials. If this is a character going in one of the modules or in one of the codexes, then we're going to do all of the portraits and everything at this stage, plus the thumbnail that you guys get to see on the video itself will be from Daz. Daz's software is the one we use for all of our two-dimensional images that are made from three-dimensional objects. Because you can do lighting a lot easier in Daz 3D than most any other program that we've used. So next up, I'm going to take that Daz 3D, I'm going to export it to an Obj file, and then I'm going to put it into Blender. So the nice thing about Blender is it's not a single uniform joined object yet. The wavefront object allows the dress and the coif and the person to still be separate. So we can make adjustments if we have part of her knee is poking through the dress, or any number of weird things can happen when you transfer from a digital rendering to a 3D editing mode. Once we've got, so in Blender we are going to resize the object if it needs to be. So you want to make sure in Blender that you set it to millimeters, otherwise you'll be printing the King Kong-s of cultists there. It should be about the size of a basketball if it was still in centimeters instead of millimeters. But so make sure that the millimeters are set, and then you put that against, and you can check that again when you get to whatever 3D printer software that you're using. But you set it to millimeters, and then you also, in this case, I could select the dress separately from the other parts of the model, and I could fill that dress. Because the objects are two-dimensional and they're separate, I need to fill basically it's the bottom edge of the dress and each of the cuffs so that it becomes a solid object. And that's the failing point and the ending point of the last time we tried this sort of thing to 3D print, was that it simply didn't fill correctly. So we get that filled, we get the thickness set, so we can add that modifier to the dress as well. This happens like around the back parts of the dress that go behind her head, and the cuffs on the arms and things, they'll need to be thickened so that the 3D printer can actually recognize that something's there in space. But once we get that, then so here's the progression of the model that we've taken it through. Started off, we designed the two-dimensional image in Daz, and then we exported it for our physical image needs that we've got for promotional materials and the YouTube thumbnail and anything that we're using it for. Then we hiked it on over to Blender, which allowed us to fix the model, fill the model, resize the model, and then join it all into one object, which is another thing that we didn't do on the last time, because then once the object is joined and you have one uniform piece, then it actually the 3D slicers, 3D creating part of the process that makes it into the 3D printable file is possible than where it wasn't before. So we've got our model all the way to the ready to 3D print stage, and that has been our 3D Monday Halloween Cultist design to printable video. So if you like the stuff that we're doing, then feel free to support us on Patreon, like and subscribe. We've got all that in the description. Next Monday is going to be the Where Are They Now celebration of Adventuring Parties, which, if you don't know who that is, they are the ones that got the Togetherverse started as a universe. So the iconic original characters will be looking at their 3D images that I created 10 or 15 years ago. So we'll see you guys then. Thanks, Internet.